Hello and welcome to round 2 of the British Motorcycle Racing Championship from here in Cheshire at Oulton Park. Not only have we got 2 wheels this week, but we've got 4 with these carts. Before we get on to the racing, I met up with Graham Lewis, who's the MZ Club coordinator, to talk about everything MZ, along with Chris Kent and Gordon Ryan, who also ride in there. I hope you enjoy this piece. I certainly did. A great interview with Graham.
I just like odd, canal barge, old engineering, Lister engines, anything. So I saw I was doing lots of track days, and then I did this. And I thought I saw this because I couldn't afford to race a 600. These are really cheap to race, cheap to race. And so I started doing it, and then I thought, I wonder where they came from. So I started reading about them, and then I asked Tony, who's our tuner. I said, "Have you ever been?" He's been tuning these bikes for 40 years. I said, "Have you ever been to Chupau where they were made?" And he went, "No." I said, "Do you want to go?" He went, "Yeah." So we just went in the van, drove for 2 days across Europe, got to Chupau, and then went all over the place, looking and trying to get people to understand who we could do. But nobody spoke any English there, apart from the guy in the Indian restaurant. So it was a bit of a damp squib, to be honest.
Yeah.
So then I said, "Okay, well, I know where it is now," and I was researching and looking, and I found a photographer name on the bottom of a picture in one of the books because I bought a lot of books about MZs. So I just contacted him because I thought, right, where's he from? Right, he's this media company. So I went in, it was just Thomas, his own media company. So I emailed him, and then he emailed me back in German, and I deciphered it, and then said, "Okay, somebody will contact you." And then a guy called Norbert contacted me, and from that I've got about 20 really, really good friends over the last 3 years. So I've been there, I know the Carden, so Walter's, I've been in Walter's house. So Walter Carden and a guy called Zimmerman, I don't know his first name, Jens Zimmerman, but Zimmerman. Yeah. So Zimmerman was a student in the factory that made DKW, these are MZs.
Yeah.
Before that, they were DKW. DKW stands for Deutsche K, which is a word for steam, Worken. So it was German steamworks in Chupau. It was called DKW, but they'd long since stopped making steam engines, and they were making motorbikes. And you know the BSA Bantam? Yeah? That is one of Walter's generation bikes that they've generated, and it was called the DKW RE1. And it is an exact copy, and it was war reparation to UK or to Britain from Germany. They just give the designs and said, right, so they did that with loads of stuff.
Oh wow!
So and at that time, the two-stroke was just a go-to-work bike. Yeah. And then Walter, everybody says that V2, you'll read it all the time, V2.
Yeah.
He may well have worked on the V2 bomber, because he was a young engineer. Yeah, no, because the V2 wasn't a doodlebug, the V1 was the doodlebug, because it made a...
Yeah.
Now that's because that was a pulse engine, and being a brand new... When the war started, he was a junior engineer in the factory, and he got sent to where they were developing the doodlebug, and he learned how to measure the pressure wave with an oscilloscope. So he was part of that generation of engineers and scientists who worked out that the way a pulse engine works, gills on the side, so that when it and a spark plug, and you just squirt some fuel in, light it, it goes bang, and the pressure wave goes out the back, but leaves a vacuum behind it. Now that vacuum is what Walter realised he could create in an exhaust, create a vacuum which gives a back pressure, pushing unburnt gases back into the engine.
All right.
So that's Walter's realisation. So Walter then came, and people had been trying lots of different exhausts, but until Walter come up with this double cone here.
Yeah.
Until he developed that, people were guessing, but Walter was the guy who measured it.
So he
knew exactly where the pulse was coming from. He knew how big that had to be, and how big that. So this relationship between the cones, Walter did all that.
Yeah.
And you can make these have 40 horsepower just by changing that. So I read all about this, and I wanted to meet him. And in the end, so Walter come back. Now this is a true story because I'm friends with his grandson and his dad and his son, and it's a very small town. It's like a town up northern UK, northern England. Yeah. Because it's all in, and it's an industrial town that's in 3 valleys that meet. Oh. So it's a really little town. Yeah. And then they said, I managed to contact them, and they said, yeah, please come. So I went there, this time with my wife, not Tony, and we were there for a week, and they were absolutely brilliant. And they took us everywhere, gave us dinner in the house, and talked everything. And the whole way in which the bikes were developed came from Walter, and when it was MZ, he was unemployed. He was unemployed for 18 months. He couldn't get a job, right? Yeah. So he had his little RE125, and he was just tuning it with what he'd learned from the war. So he was whizzing along up and down these roads. And then the guy from East Germany, the German government, was sent to the factory. The Russians had taken all the electrics out, all the windows out, everything. And whilst Walter's whizzing about trying to get his bike to go as fast as he possibly could because he had nothing else to do, they were trying to get a race team together because the government were putting money into all sports. This is sort of the early 50s, very late 40s, early 50s. So Walter, they said, well, why don't we ask that bloke? Because he's making enough noise. He seems to be going faster than anybody because they didn't know anything about motorbikes. No. So what happened is he went then and got onto the race team, and then he developed all the race bikes that you read about. So if you get a book and you see a bike racing in the UK, racing in the Isle of Man, in the late 50s through to the very early 70s was the last time, but really 67, 68 was the last time they were competitive. And in 1962, Walter and he was like a son to him, Ernst Degner. Ernst Degner racer. So Walter went to the Swiss Grand Prix, and they were going to all Ernst had to do was finish the race, right? And he over-revved the bike, and Walter told him, don't over-rev the bike. And he over-revved the bike on purpose until it blew up. Yeah. That meant that he wasn't then star of the show, somebody else was. If he'd have won, he would have been up on press, doing all lots of stuff, and he couldn't have done anything. He couldn't have escaped. So a guy called Jimmy from Suzuki had befriended him about a year before in the Isle of Man, and then they kept in contact, and Jimmy swapped places with him, swapped cars, swapped clothes, swapped hotel. So the Dazi were watching The Room, but they saw a man in it, but it was Jimmy, who was a Japanese guy. Yeah. But of course you didn't know. So a guy came down, dressed up with a coat up, Sweden, and he gets in the car and he drives away, and that was Ernst. And Ernst went back to Berlin, but on the west side, and there's 2 stories about how his wife and kids got there, but the one that's true isn't the logs which you see in the documentary. The one is where a friend brought them across the wall in a car, a diplomat. Oh, right. And then they reunited and they went to live in Japan and developed Suzuki. And that killed MZ because at the same time they were running out of money, because this is now the late 60s, early 70s. So this was 62, and it took until 64 before they even got competitive, even with Ernst. Yeah. So by the time you got to 65, 66, Suzuki were winning, Honda had developed the 4-stroke and that, and these guys were making race bikes out of old engines, melting old engines down. They didn't have any materials. They didn't have any materials, didn't have any money, and they were still competitive. But then by the time it got to the 70s, they weren't. And come the reunification, it just closed. The mark was worth 10 times less when the Deutschmark took over, and the Deutschmark was the Western currency.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's closed. They closed it then, and there was no more MZ.
And so these bikes we've got here, are they based on the original MZ?
So this bike,
yeah,
this engine was made in Tupau, and I know the guy who developed it, Fred Mayer.
all right.
So Fred did all the testing. He worked in the end of the production line, and he did all the testing, put all the tests in, and some of the development. And then Bernd Baumgartel, who is coming to, if you want to meet Bernd, he's coming to Donington. Oh. We actually took one of my engines back, me and Tony, to the factory and arranged to meet Fred, who I'd become friends with by then. And there's a brilliant set of brilliant photographs of Tony and Fred rebuilding I'd stripped an engine down, cleaned it all, and prepared it to be reassembled. Put it on the counter in the very room that Fred next to where Fred used to work. Oh. And Fred still goes there because it's a museum. But Fred, it's just like he picks everything up because to him it's just a workplace. Yeah. And we were building the engine together, and Fred was saying to Tony, 999, and he was pushing Tony out the window. Tony's going, yeah, what's he doing? And I said, Fred, this is a race engine. He's going 9999. So I had to say to Fred, this is Tony's engine. Yeah. This is your engine from when you made it in 1986, and he would have been working on the line, so these engines would have come through in 1986, and Fred's department would have gone through his department for checking and testing. And we put them together, and they couldn't believe when we showed them the horsepower. So these are 18 coming off the line. Yeah. We get 30 out of them. You can get 40 out of them, but they don't last a race. No,
it's doubled the horsepower from...
So this is all to do with work that Tony Umshaw has done. So Tony and Fred and Bernd, they had a fantastic time. So, it's fantastic.
Are they still raced anywhere else?
No.
Just here?
No, that's not true. No, there is road racing in Estonia. Yeah. So we know some guys over there, but they're racing... Their bikes aren't like this, they're road bikes. Yeah. Still have spoked wheels. They haven't developed the engines anywhere near as much as this. All right. But they're a little crazy because they race on cobbled streets. They're really old school. Yeah. But yeah, that's the only racing we know. And a couple of guys have made sprint bikes out of them. Yeah. But yeah, we're sand racing out of them. Yeah, so we've one of our guys went and started sand racing. Then he spannered himself.
Guys do Three Sisters though, don't they?
Oh yeah, there's another race group at Preston and District Motorcycle Club run a mixed club, and there's about 5 guys race up there. Yeah. We've raced there with them as well. But yeah, so and I can't tell you what a beautiful place it is and how great the people are in Tupau that made these bikes. And we've just developed a really good relationship with them.
Yeah. And they're proud of their history.
Oh, they're so proud.
From building it.
They're so proud of it, yeah. They're so proud of the history. And they thought it was all finished. Yeah. So one of Fred's, and Fred's wife, Monica, we've been for dinner up there, and it's just given Fred a whole new interest back again. And because they meet, all the old guys, they meet in the factory where the museum is. So the factory's now like an industrial centre. Yeah. So there's KTM, a dealership, who is run by the guy who won the 85, 86, 87 and 88, or it might be 1 year out on those dates, but he won 4 consecutive world championships, or enduro championships, on MZs. Because what happened, and that was when Bernd Baumgartel was in charge of the race department and in charge of the development stuff, and then they had all of this development on the enduro bikes, and they're untouchable. Now, if you go to, I raced in the classic enduro race last year. So they invited me to go and race, and I said, well, yeah, fantastic, I've got to get a bike, and I've got to get this, I've got to get that. Sadly, my bike broke down on the first lap, but it's a long lap, but I didn't finish the 3 laps. But the engines are very similar to this, but they're developed for enduro racing. Yeah. And they were world leaders in enduro in the 80s. They literally won 4 consecutive world championships with these bikes, but enduro bikes. So yeah, MZ is packed full of history. Is that Tony Omshaw, who's developed these engines, and we've sent all the pictures over to Fred, he's the main sort of engine guru, right? He loves the engine stuff. Is inside the engine here. What we've developed last year, Tony and Alex developed it, is a skull head. So what they've done is they've changed the shape of the combustion chamber inside, but it comes as a piece that you take out. So this is only a carrier, this top piece. Then the combustion chamber is actually a separate piece that you slot in. And then when you clamp those 4 bolts, it clamps it all together. And from that, we've got 10% more power in one go. So we've gone from, we've put 3 more horsepower on.
Yeah.
So it was about 28, 29. You're really good if you got a 30. And we've got like 33 horsepower now.
Wow.
And then they've also changed the torque. And it's nice and smooth and nice and flat. And it's gone from mid-teens foot-pounds to mid-20 foot-pounds.
Wow.
So it'll be different. It'll be different on every engine because they are different. So a 2-stroke is a resonance device.
Yeah.
It's not a pump. So a 4-stroke is puff, squeeze, bang, blow. And if you could put a water pipe on one side and a hose on the other, and you put a motor and run the 4-stroke, it would pump water. It's a pump. This isn't. This whole setup here, this is a resonance device. And when you're on the rev counter, when you come what they used to call on the pipe, that means that the shock wave, back to Walter, the shock wave is bouncing back in that length, in perfect time, so that when the piston is coming up, just as it snips off, that's when the shock wave pushes the last back in, and that's when you feel that surge of power in the power band, and that's where you need to hold it in that power band. Is all to do with the length of that exhaust and the shape of these cones, and that's why this is a resonance device. So this is why 2-strokes, when they're not in resonance, low revs, and they've got that really sort of dull thing.
Yeah, just trying to push.
And then when it gets to the point of resonance, when you put your finger on a wine glass, you get that's resonance. Then you'll get that in the engine when everything's just sweet, and then that comes together, and then woof, you're off. And the whole principle of this, keeping these race engines, is keep them at 8,000 revs, 8,000, 8.5. And that's where your best power is. Below 8, down to 7, 7.5, then you're coming out of that resonance place. Above 10, then you're right at the other end of the resonance. So you've got this band of about 1,000 revs that you're trying to keep the engine in.
So it's a lot of gear changing just to keep in the right place. How many gears?
5 gears.
5 gears. Who makes the gears for it?
So the gears that we use inside for the primary drive, and the 5th gear, close ratio 5th gear, that's Ashley down in Hounslow in London, and his company is called Gear Cutting Company, and he's absolutely fantastic. Supports us really well. He does the gears because he likes racing. He does the gears at costs for us. Sometimes I'm sure he doesn't actually make any money doing the gears for us. But he's a really nice guy, and he's fascinated by the history of MZs. But he's the guy that supplies this, and without him, we would really struggle to get gears made. There are other gear making companies, but one-off small batches. Not many companies want to do that these days. No. So Ashley down at the Gear Cutting Company, and give a big shout out to him.
Yeah, obviously as they're not made anymore off the production line, it's relying on other people to make parts for them.
You can still buy parts for them because they're still made in Czechoslovakia. So Jawa and MZs, there's enough people still interested in them as a traditional classic bike that you can still buy parts. So there are parts available, but it's getting harder. It's getting harder. So if you want to, as far as I know, there's nobody making brand new parts with these yet. They're usually refurbished, reconditioned. But you've got to remember, MZ in 1974 made 94,000 motorbikes with 3 shift motorbikes of around 1,200 people in a tiny little factory in this steep-sided valley.
Yeah.
And it was the highest number of motorbikes made by any motorcycle company ever.
Wow.
And
the engineering back then was fantastic, isn't it?
They were just
how clever those engineers were as well.
And it's a fascinating place to visit. If anybody wanted to go there on holiday, you can fly to Dresden, you can fly to Prague and get there on the train and different things. But Tupau is just outside a place called Chemnitz. So you'll not find Tupau on the map because it's really small town. But you will find Chemnitz, because Chemnitz is the main city around there.
Yeah.
And Chemnitz, you can't fly to it, but you can get there on the train from Dresden. And it's only 15 minutes down the road and it's Saxony, beautiful place. And for motorcyclists, the Augustusburg Hotel, the Augustusburg Museum has got the most fantastic motorcycle collection. It's got more motorbikes in there than the Birmingham Museum.
Wow.
And they're not things that you would normally see because they're all Russian, East German, Czechoslovakian, Estonian. They're bikes from that area for over 100 years. And they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So, if anybody's interested in going there, you can contact me as well. If you're just interested in MZs or where you want to go there or you want to come and try it, then give me a call and I'll tell you.
Yeah, and we'll put your details along the bottom of the screen.
Put my details along the bottom.
Yeah, everyone can get in contact with Graham.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, that's it.
And the best thing for your viewers would be, if you want to come in and race one of these, you can with us. But and you're racing in the championship, the same championship with the same club. This is the British Motorcycle Racing Club, the oldest motorcycle racing club in the world. And the first 250 championship, which is our cup, was won by Mike Halewood. Now, Alan Shepherd won it 2 or 3 years later. Both Mike and Alan won it a couple of times. And Alan was very, very close friends with the Carden family right up until this day. And I think Alan's wife, his name is Sheila, I think. But they're still in touch with Sheila, even though Alan's gone. Yeah. And they've got some of Alan's bikes on display in Tupau that he won run road races on.
Oh, fantastic.
It's such a nice community.
In terms of the rent-a-bike, how does that work so people can sort of contact the club?
Yeah, so they'll contact me because I'm the coordinator. Yeah. And then if you just search for British MZ Racing, and then you'll find us on the internet. And you can actually put MZ Experience, and that should pop up as well. That's what it's called. And then we've got a bike, it's green, same as this. All these bikes are almost exactly the same. And then they contact me, £50 books one, and we only do one rent, generally only one. We can do two if we get enough volunteers, but we own the bikes as a club, and but they're really competitive. I mean, they were said that they must be slower because they're rent bikes, and one of the guys said, "Well, swap with me," and he went and come in third, I think, on the rent bike. So they are competitive. £50, give me a call. £50 secures the weekend, and then £500 for 3 days racing. So the first day is a test day, and it's like a track day, and then you have 2 races on the Saturday, 2 races on the Sunday, and you're racing in the 250 British Motorcycle Racing Club Championship, and it goes back all the way to 1958.
Is there any sponsors you'd like to mention that help get this on the race? I'm
sponsored by Morris Lubricants, so Morris Racing Lubricants. I'd like to say thank you to Darren, who's my contact there, and Andy, who also is the manager there. So these guys have been supporting me for 3 years. This is the 3rd year, and they're fantastic. So I get all my lubricants off them and use them on the bike. They do a fantastic range. Some of the stuff's up there. I use them for everything we do. I got them at home, machine shop. So yeah, they're good. And then Brian, BKS, made to measure. BKS Brian, made to measure. He's the original BKS.
Yeah.
And then these leathers have lasted, I don't know, about 20 falls. Yeah. They've not fallen apart yet. So they've been down the road. So they're fantastic. Definitely worth investing in them.
And over the weekend, you're sort of aim for the by Sunday?
Saturday
this week.
You were talking to Gordon before about brands, and my aim at brands is to get a lap below a minute, because that's a bit of a target, and I was 800ths of a second off. It was a windy day, and I have done it once before. I got a 59.9, but here I just want to stay in touch with the next rider ahead, because I'm probably one of the faster guys in the slow group, in the second group. So if I can just try to cross that gap and at least keep them in sight, that would be an improvement, and that would all I'd be asking for this weekend.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'm here with Chris Kent, who races in the MZ class. Hey Chris, how was Brands Hatch for you?
Not great, unfortunately. Had some engine problems. The bike seemed to lose power, so I was struggling to get under the 1 minute lap. And usually round Brands I'll be doing 57s, 58s.
Yeah.
So a bit disappointed at Brands, unfortunately.
Yeah, here at Oulton Park, have you raced here much? Or?
Yeah, it's my local circuit.
All right.
Yeah, I love it, Oulton Park. Best track in the country.
Yeah. So lots of ups and downs around.
Very challenging, proper circuit this year.
And on the MZ, how's that feel out there?
It's great fun. Every corner's challenging, every corner's different. Some of them you can go through flat out, which you can't on the bigger bikes. So yeah, it's really exciting. I like Oulton Park.
And the MZ, it's obviously an older bike. Can you talk us a little bit about
of course.
the bike?
They're from the 1980s, built in the East Germany. Lightweight wheels. We've got Moto 3 slicks, which the best you can get basically. The engines have been upgraded for reliability. So, because they rev to about 9,000 revs now, these bikes, which is not what they're designed to do.
No.
When we put one on the dyno, we sometimes get 29, 30 horsepower, which again, the bikes are only originally designed to sort of like do 12, 15 horsepower, something like that.
Wow,
so yeah, there's a lot of upgrades. We have Maxton suspension on the front and back. Obviously everything's been lightened. So yeah, it's proper little racing machines.
And the frame, sort of steel frame all through it?
We've got two types of frames. This one's an ETZ, it's a round frame. So this is a TS, it's the round frame. The box frame is is an ETZ. There's a slight difference in length, but nothing makes much difference really.
Yeah. How long have you been racing?
This is my 15th year.
15th,
yeah.
Wow.
Started with MZs and always stuck with them.
Yeah.
We have a great community in the paddock. Always a lot of help. Anytime you've got a problem, there's always somebody will come and help.
Yeah. I'm here with Gordon Ryan, who rides in the MZ races. Gordon, can you tell us a bit about Brands Hatch? How you got on there?
Yeah, Brands Hatch, first round of the 2026 season. It was really good for me. There's been some work done on the MZs over the winter, which there always is, but part of the work that Tony Holmshaw and Terran Kiddle, who mainly do the tuning of the bikes, they spent some time actually doing some innovations the year before that Alex Mann ran, and they were really successful. So the rest of us sort of had those updates done over the winter before Brands Hatch, and Brands Hatch went really well. The bike was pulling great, going faster than it had previously, and I was riding slightly better, a little bit more committed. My PBs were coming down in testing, and then in qualifying and through the weekend really. So I was really pleased I managed to get down into the 57s, which on a little MZ's, quite a thing to do.
Yeah, it's going quick around Brands Hatch under a minute. So yeah, fantastic.
But Alex Mann broke the world the lap record there with a 56.45. It was a quick weekend.
Yeah, and these bikes are a lot quicker than they look in terms of performance. 100 miles an hour sort of top speed on them is fantastic.
Yeah, around about that. Yeah, and the main thing with an MZ is that they're so light. They're only about 95 kilos. So we brake very, very late and try and carry as much corner speed as possible. Yeah,
excellent. And here at Oulton Park today, how you got on testing today?
Testing today's been pretty good. First sort of session out, I felt a little bit rusty. It's a really technical track, Oulton. I love it because not only is it my local track, but I love the park track. So Cadwell Park, Donington Park, Oulton. And there's a couple of places I wasn't quite getting right, but the nice thing about the MZ paddock is you can always ask somebody, and even if they're the person you're kind of most competitive with, they'll still tell you what they're doing. Because we all just want everyone to get on as well as we possibly can and ride as best as we can, and it be as competitive as possible.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Within Graham's interview, he mentions about the Rent-A-Racer for the MZs. There's also the YPM Rent-A-Racer and the Ninja at MZ. So if you're interested in taking up the challenge and getting on the track, get in contact with the club. Thank you, Graham, Chris and Gordon there for a great interview and an insight into those little MZ bikes and the fantastic history behind them. Oulton Park in Cheshire is a great place to go and view the racing. Plenty of spectating areas all around the track. All the way down to Island Bend, where you can see them go round the loop and back up through the chicane, and then over the hill, and uninterrupted views of the glorious countryside around there as well. It's all the way through to Hizzy's. The new grandstand at Hizzy's is a brilliant place to watch. You can see them come down Cascades, all the way around, down towards Ireland. You do slightly things, they go around Ireland there, and then you pick them back up as they come over to the top of the hill, down to Hizzy's. Through Knickerbrook and up to Clay Hill. Brilliant place to watch and enjoy the action, and where I film most of it. Around the rest of the track you can also watch on the inside. It's really good around Druids all the way down towards Corner. There's a bridge which will take you across the start line, so you can watch the start and then to the first corner from there as well, and sit in the grandstand at the first corner, and there's one at the last corner as well. So brilliant spectating places provided. Now it's on to the races. We start with the Thunderbolt 500s. Just a reminder that all the races can be found in full, uninterrupted, on my YouTube channel at Alan Flack. Here are the highlights from race 1, which was run in tricky conditions with a shower 1 minute and sunshine the next. Keep an eye out for Sean O'Hara and Philip Janssen coming through from pit lane in the rerun, and Mark Osborne for taking his first win. I'm going to leave you with Keith and Bradley to talk through that.
Of this particular race, they disappear out of my sight behind the corporate hospitality box, because that's obviously what you need in the way of your commentary box, and they're going to go down the hill and head down towards you, Bradley. And I tell you what, I have got a few spots on the windows here, mate. Not heavy ones, but just enough to upset people. Yeah, Luke McRae, perfect 4 from 4. And of course, Luke lost the championship last year by a single solitary point, which is a great shame for him, but that's the way racing goes. And he missed the first 2 rounds last year. Well, he's certainly making up for that at the moment, isn't he, Bradley?
Absolutely is. He had that 10 bike length lead as they went out of my sight. They're back into my sight now, Keith, over the top and heading towards his chicane. And it's Luke McRae, number 16, who'll get there first on that yellow machine with the orange wheels. Oh, we got a rider down already. 2 riders down, Keith. 2 riders down, tucking the front on the brakes in towards his chicane here. Both riders up and okay. And, well, that leaves. And we've got another rider down. 2 riders down here on the right-hander at Knickerbrook as well. So it's all kicking off down here, Keith. Another 2 more riders down. Yellow flags are out, as you would expect. We've got 2 riders down on the slip road, and 1, 2, 3, 4 down here at Knickerbrook, Keith. The red flag has gone out. I'm not surprised. All riders are up and on their feet.
Going along 100 miles now, the rain is going to be down to your
McRae on the grid there, just with the binoculars through the fence. Right, away we go then. The lights have gone out, and that is McRae, who is heading into a lead once again. The 62 machine,
the other
McRae was in second, but he's just been passed. I think that might have been Calvin Grimes, not 100% on that. There goes O'Hara and Ianson out of the pit lane to join at the back of the field. So they're going to be coming down the hill last of all towards Cascades there, Bradley. So it'll be interesting to see the progress of those two, because obviously Ianson was on pole position, and Sean O'Hara is a regular guy at the sharp end as well, so we expect them to come punching through.
Sean O'Hara is going around the outside of 3 of them as he round Cascades on towards Island Bend now, and it was Luke McRae just then passed for the race lead there. It's a little bit far to see the numbers from a vantage point here, Keith, but certainly the number 16 machine of Luke McRae, who was down into 2nd place there. Max McRae on number 62, I believe, was there in about 5th place as they left my sight, but looking up towards far into the circuit, can't see any changes at Shell Oils, but we'll keep an eye out as they come out of Britain's over the top and back into our sides. But certainly Luke McRae, number 16, 3rd on the grid, wasn't he, Keith, Luke McRae?
Yeah, he was. Qualified well.
Had a great Brands Hatch, but he's there in that 2nd position and coming under threat now for that 2nd position. We'll try and pick them up as the race leader heads in towards the right now, back over to the left-hand side through this Hizzy chicane. And, tell you what, Luke McRae defending at that 2nd place, but it's the number 38 machine who leads the way, and don't have a 38 on the sheet here, Keith, so we'll try and pick that one out when they come around and complete that number 1. There's Adrian Kershaw. Sean O'Hara has punched his way through around about 15 of them,
And out of Knickerbrook on towards Clay Hill. Max Moore, number 99, brings up the rear of the field. He's in the fight there with the 22 of Simon Finch, the man from Rochester. But all riders now through over Clay Hill and out of my sight. But it was certainly Luke McRae in second position, Keith, but seemingly a number 38 who I don't have leading the way.
That's Joe Holdsworth, who actually qualified down in 7th place, so he's obviously made a very rapid start, definitely getting on with the tricky conditions. Looks like they're side by side coming out of Deers Leak there. So this is the battle for second, third place. Here we go then. Over the line into, you're not going to believe this, sunshine. It is the machine of Holdsworth, ahead of Osborne and McRae. And that is the 16 of Luke. Then it's Colt Dwyer. Fitzsimmons is up next. Then Kershaw, Carter. Adams is the first of the rookies ahead of Hayes, another rookie. Then it's Max McRae, who's dropped a long way down the field. Hayes claims to have made up 16 places on the opening lap, in fact. So it all definitely a bigger mix and match going out there. Then we got Perkins. O'Hara's done a brilliant job from the pit lane to come across the line in 12th place, so that's good on him. Followed by Philip Anson as well, so he's made a very rapid start too. So it'll be interesting, even though this is only 4 laps, to see how it all sorts itself out. And they were followed by Butler, Jordan, Davies, Adorjan, Dwyer, Thompson, Finch.
So over Hilltop now, in fact we're 3 wide now, Keith, so that lead has been decimated, and it's Luke McRae who's got that inside line and goes up the inside to take the race lead. So Luke McRae, number 16, he leads the way, but here is the retaliation from the number 38 up the inside, and the 11, in fact, of Mark Osborne is right there watching it all unfold in front of him. But it's Joe Holdsworth who now reclaims that race lead, 129 ahead of 26-22. Simon Finch has made up about 4 positions on this lap. Max Maud is up 1 position as well. But again, everybody through safely on this second lap, Keith, all over Clay Hill and back towards you.
Yeah, they certainly are coming out of the spectator bridge there at Deers Leap as they fight their way towards the start-finish line. And you're right, it is 3-way action. The 3 of them are pretty much line astern as they come over the line. They were separated by just 0.173 of a second. McRae was given the nod at the line ahead of Holdsworth and Osborne, but there was a overtake there. I think it might have been Osborne and Holdsworth. I'm not quite sure. It's all a blur of colour.
Looks that way to me. Looks like Osborne, number 11, is up to second place ahead of Holdsworth, but it's Luke McRae who's back out in front, has about 7 or 8 bike lengths advantage out of Cascades on towards Island Bend. Next up is that battle for 4th place, and that's Sean O'Hara who's in 5th, trying to go the long way round and seemingly making it work. They're side by side, Keith. Sean O'Hara for that 4th position. Looks like he's got it.
That'll be Colt Dwyer, I think he's arguing with. That's who he was behind coming across the line there. And Philip Anson again was following him. So Anson is now the leading rookie once again, looking to add to his championship score at the last round. Philip, go mate.
We've got the leaders with us, but it's only a group of 2 now. Only 2 heading towards me, and it's Holdsworth who leads from Osborne. Luke McRae has not come into my sight as they go through Knickerbrook on towards Clay Hill. That's the leading 2 now underneath that Oulton Park bridge. Sean O'Hara, Keith, from pit lane to the podium. He's in 3rd place at the moment.
Stretched out, I do wonder if he might be able to go a little bit faster again. And O'Hara's actually got the fastest second time as well. So Sean, definitely the man on the charge there. Osborne leads Holdsworth over the line then by 0.2 of a second. So here comes that battle for 3rd. It's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up. And that is indeed, I'm pretty sure, get a confirmation. Yes, indeed, that is Sean O'Hara. So from the pit lane to the podium, that's going to be quite a story for his everyday podcast, isn't it, mate?
So over to the right-hand side now. There's the apex. Get the power on. And he's got quite a good advantage there, has Joe Holdsworth, Keith. Here's Sean O'Hara in what is now a relatively lonely 3rd place, but an incredible ride nonetheless for Sean O'Hara. Next up, it is Phil Anson, 4th in this race, first of the rookies for the man who would have started from pole position, but again, another man from pit lane.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that we're bigging up Sean O'Hara here, but let's not forget Philip Anson. He also started from pit lane. It looked like, I'm not quite sure if it was an after you kind of thing, but he was definitely behind O'Hara when they left the pit lane. He's only 2.5 seconds behind him now, and that's a very impressive ride by the rookies as the leaders make their way to the line. The checker flag flutters on the first of today's events, and it is indeed Sam Osborne who claims a very delighted win there, very happy with his efforts. Just 0.170 ahead of Joe Holdsworth. 3rd place though, I think he does know he's finished well up the grid there. He comes across waving the air, punching the air with glee, and that is of course
Sean O'Hara. Philip Ianson, he's the top rookie, but more impressively coming to 4th place ahead of some quite experienced riders there. Fitzsimmons next across the line. Colt Dwyer then makes his way over. Now,
what a race that was, and congratulations to Mark on his win. The rest of the weekend, normal service was resumed, with Max McRae taking 2 wins and Joe Holdsworth the other. Luke leaves Oulton 29 points ahead of Adrian Kershaw, who had a consistent weekend, taking 2 seconds, a 3rd and a 7th in this wet race. We move on to the Ultras and Extremes, as Morgan Creasy was back on form, dicing with Tyler Donovan all over the weekend. And Morgan took 2 wins and a 2nd, with Tyler Donovan taking the other 2 wins. Clinton Wood and Connor Swire fought over the other podium places, again in changeable conditions over the weekend. And some of the races were held in damp conditions, and this one here, drying conditions on the Friday afternoon. In the Extremes, it was Tony Russo taking all 4 wins, and he was also mixing it in with the Ultras as well in the races, with the conditions being favourable for him. David May took 4 seconds and moved to 5th in the championship despite not being at round 1. Tyler leads with the 17-point lead ahead of Clinton as they head towards Donington Park at the beginning of May. The rookie 600s were next out on track, and it's Keaton Leatherland who joined us at Oulton Park, and he took 2 wins and a 2nd over the weekend, taking the challenge to our winner at Brands Hatch, Fraser Lezachenko. Fraser took 2 wins and finished 2nd in the other ones. Both had some great battles over the weekend, dicing it out in these conditions. Meanwhile, there's some great battles further down the field. Here we can see this 6-rider scrap going through Izzy's and up Knickerbrook and up towards Clay Hill. Andrew Morris and Tim Roche lie 2nd and 3rd in the championship as we head to Donington. The Open 500s see Sean Crone leaving Oulton Park on top of the championship after securing 3 wins and a 2nd to take over from Luca Wilkinson, who took a win and 3 seconds. Both those two and Jake Dunkley and Archie Ormerod battled out all over the weekend. They were hard to separate. You can see here race 1, we've got Luca Wilkinson lead for Archie Ormerod, Sean Crone and Jake Dunkley as they head up Clay Hill, battling well on these Kawasaki ZX 4Rs.
there we go.
In the 2 strokes, it was Hayden Smith that took all 4 wins. Continues to lead the championship with Stephen Bailey, took 3 seconds. Good to see these 2 strokes out there. Move on to the mini twins. It was Ronnie Harris that dominated over the weekend, taking all 4 wins in the class. Behind him, there's some great battles between his brother Ronnie and Will Howarth sharing the spoils, with Jack Bettis and Steve Costin following them home all over the weekend. I mentioned to Martin Siggins, you can see in the middle there on the yellow bike, who had a great qualifying and was battling out in the race with Mitch DeGran, taking a 9th and an 8th on the Friday, and on the Saturday 2 12ths. In the rookies, it was Jack Noble that took all 4 wins, with Connor Wolfe and Rob Bryant sharing the 2nd step of the podium. Team Green Senior and Junior Cup. Provided some great racing over the weekend. Max Hardy was out again on the Ninja 400 and looking for the fastest lap to try and set some more records. However, with the windy conditions, he was unable to break away from the pack and keep the youngsters at bay. Max took 3 wins in the senior, with Dan Bray and Danny Huskin sharing the podium over the weekend. In the juniors, it was Lucas King that took 3 wins. Alfie Garrett picked up the other win, fantastic riding by him all weekend, and is unlucky not to pick up the other one on Saturday when he took a fall at Knickerbrook after chasing back to the lead. Chloe Gleason had a brilliant weekend, taking a 2nd and 3 thirds. Brilliant riding from Chloe. Onto the MZs. I hope you enjoyed the feature earlier on in here. You can see Graham on the yellow bike there. You can see Chris in 4th there, and Gordon. It was Andrew Wales and Alex Mann that shared the spoils over the weekend, with race 1 providing plenty of overtaking around this picturesque track. These machines race alongside the Team Green, so the split starts and the Team Greens go off around about 20 seconds before the MZs, and the MZs then race their own race afterwards. You can see plenty of overtakes. Hizzy's a good opportunity there to outbrake your competitor as they go through and head up towards Clay Hill. And these machines revving really well. There we can see is Gordon. Ryan, who we interviewed earlier, going through. And there's Graham. Onto the power bikes, and we had Harrison Crosby join the grid along with some other new names, Hopper, Mercer, Mallender, Perry and Thompson. And Ted Wilkinson, who's competing in the Super Twins later, was also on his Aprilia 650 in this one, and impressed over the weekend, competing against these 1,000 bikes on the 650. Really impressive riding from him. Regulars are also out in force. We had Morgan Creasy, Tommy Jones, Scott Halliday, Clinton Wood, to name a few in that. The speed and commitment as these riders go up Clay Hill is impressive. Harrison left the weekend setting a lap time of 1 minute 38.8, average speed of 97.99 miles an hour around this twisty up and down circuit. Watching these riders power around Dalton Park is impressive. The skill and commitment was on full show. As ever, you can watch all these races in full on the YouTube channel later on over the coming weeks. Move on to the MRO 600. Here's Sam Norton taking an early crash in qualifying on the Friday morning. A damp track, but he was up and okay. It's AJ who took all 3 wins across the weekend with a fast, smooth riding style and out at the front, just setting the pace there. Sam Hurst had a great weekend. He's following AJ in this first race, and they're both on great pace here, and Sam just in his wheel tracks the whole time. Sam had an issue with his bike in race 3, which saw him claw his way through from the back of the pack to an impressive 6th place. And it was a great ride to watch him go past so many and catch up with the leading pack. He just couldn't quite get there at the end, but in the longer race he may well have got up to 2nd, so great riding from Sam. Jack Muir took 2 second places and has moved himself up in the championship to 5th. Hope to see this form continue as he moves on to Donington. And Gareth Cunningham had a good weekend with 2 thirds and 4th. In the club, it's Will House taking 3 wins, James May and Dean Neal sharing 2nds, with Jake Dunkley taking 2 thirds. Matt Pallett took a fall at Hizzies in race 1. There's a hole in the radiator. You can see some footage, the water spraying it onto the front wheel and brake pads. We hope to see Matt back at the front of the pack on his triumph at Donington. The Yamaha Past Masters saw Kev Woolley take 4 wins to remain 8 out of 8 for the start of the season. Impressive riding by him. Saturday morning saw a great 5-way battle that ensued throughout the race. And apologies because I didn't have all the cameras set up, so we only have a part footage of that race to show over the coming weeks. Hayden Smith, Mark Hay and David Ball all had good weekends in 2nd, 3rds. If you want to get out racing, you can in this class. On the renter bike, you'll see it in the shot here. It's the yellow number 100. Contact the club if you're interested in having a go. On this weekend, it was Peter Nichols out on it. Move to the Super Twins and Thunderbike Sport, and it was Ted Wilkinson who was out at the front over the weekend with George Halliday. Ted putting his Aprilia through its paces before he takes up on the BSB season. Some very impressive riding, including a first to last and then back to first ride after stalling on the grid, showing he can make his way through traffic. Keep an eye out for him at BSB, certainly a talent to watch over the coming years. George Halliday also had a good weekend, popping over from the Isle of Man on his Triumph and picking up some good results. Logan Stone took race 1 win in the Thunderbike Sport from Josh Harvey and Rob Saltmer. There were 3 different winners over the weekend, Logan picking up 2, Rob Saltmer and Adam Jameson picking up the others. In the Super Twins, it was Ben Brown and Toby Finnis who shared the spoils at the top with 2 wins apiece over the weekend. We move on to the British Superkart Racing Club, who joined us at Oulton Park, and these karts are fantastic. Here we can see numbers 1 and 2. Number 1, Liam Morley. Number 2, Lee Harpham. And number 3, Ross Allen, all at the front over the weekend, with Lee picking up 2 wins and Liam the other. These karts are fantastic to watch. Even in these wet conditions, their speeds are quite unbelievable. 91 miles per hour average in this first race, which was held on Friday evening in these very wet conditions. On Saturday, the track dried up, so Saturday morning was still damp, but in the afternoon we had drying conditions and a lap average of 102 miles per hour. These karts grip the track unbelievably, and the corner speed has to be seen to be believed. So if you see them out during the season, it's well worth going to take a watch. And these races will also be out on the YouTube channel over the coming weeks. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back at Donington for round 3 on the 8th, 9th and 10th of May.